to you. How are you? Well, today is special day. Today is the first episode of our podcast regarding global culture, global norms, traditions, other countries, other values, languages, and we're just going to have fun. Explore things that you may not be aware of or you may have not thought about before, and start being more aware of what's going on around you. So I would ask you with one thing first, and that's close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are walking down a busy street in New York. You may spot a sushi bar, an authentic Italian gelato stand, or perhaps a henna booth all within a few city blocks. Isn't that wonderful? Today, immersion in different cultures is inevitable, especially in American cities. And by the way, we should consider ourselves to be very lucky to live in a country like ours, where different countries' cultural elements are displayed for a person from any cultural background to experience. It's a truly beautiful thing to know and understand different cultures and their practices, and to have that opportunity to experience it every day. Imagine you go to anywhere in California and you go to Chinatown. What an experience that is. Even here in Orlando, and every time I drive down Colonial Drive and I go to East Colonial Drive, I feel I am in another country. We have all the Vietnamese restaurants, the Chinese, the Taiwanese, and you walking into a supermarket and you are in a different country. You grab the items. I mean, for me, I take a long time in those supermarkets. You go to an area where there is Indian food, and you walk in and you're just so amazed with what they have to offer. But yet, some people don't seem to take this cultural exchange of goods as a vehicle to investigate, ask, and learn few norms of certain cultures. Let's be honest. Sometimes we can be indifferent. We can be disrespectful, or simply ignorant that there are other ways of life beside ours. There is a different history that shapes people's thoughts and behaviors. I mean, look at the world today. Just look at what's going on in America today. You can right away determine that whatever we see today can be a result of a period of time of indifference, disrespect, and ignorance. My name is Mona with Mona Lu International World Properties Group. And I consider myself very lucky to have been born in a geographical area that was extremely receptive and open to other cultures, giving me a direct access to others that did not look like me, spoke like me, behaved like me, or lived like me. I was always curious to learn and ask questions. From that point, I developed a love to learn other languages, to be able to communicate with others and not leaving a chance to have what we call lack of communication hinder my endeavors and success. I did not expect people to learn my language. Instead, I learned theirs. And what a blessing and what a strategic thought that was. It's so funny. I remember when I was in high school, I would walk home, and if a tourist stopped me and asked me for direction, I would take him to his destination. I mean, would you do that? Would you do that today? I don't think so. Why? Why did I do that? Because it gave me an opportunity to strike a conversation, ask, and learn something new. But hey, it was for free. It was for free. A lesson for free. Why wouldn't I do it? My family was getting so tired of me at one point. I was inviting tourists. Every tourist that I meet, I was inviting them to our home. But it was so much fun and extremely rewarding experience. So I tell you, if you have that chance, do it. Don't hesitate. You may learn something new. Now, during my professional career, I represented over 122 nationalities and ethnicities. Yes, I did. And I count them. As a matter of fact, I have them on a booklet where, okay, I worked from someone in Ukraine. Tomorrow, I worked from what country is that? Oh, he is or she is from Kurdistan. And is it Kurdistan, Iraq, or Kurdistan, Turkey? And I have them lined up, and it gave me an edge over the competition and allowed me to close millions of dollars in business with different cultures and doing it with so much ease. I also graduated with a degree in political analysis on international relations, which was, I consider it, an icing on the cake. So not only I understand the world from a cultural perspective, but a political aspect as well. So through these episodes of cultural awareness and understanding, I hope I can help you. I hope I can bridge existing cultural gaps, allowing you to build healthier relationships, do more business, and create new opportunities, not just locally, but worldwide. Is it possible? Absolutely. Sometimes we get so caught up with language barrier. And believe it or not, in my real estate business, I had so many people approaching me, asking me to work with their clients because they couldn't speak the language. So when I asked the question, where were the people from? I would hear, okay, they're from the West Indies. Well, the West Indies, it's not that hard to understand their culture. It's not that hard, and they do speak English. It's not that hard to understand where they're coming from, how they operate. So I start educating real estate agents on cultures and telling them, hey, you don't have to give me your client. This is what you can do. And if you stumble along the way, just ask me and I can help you. So, language barrier is never an obstacle for you to do business or build relationships. Now, going back to this subject, why did I choose this subject in particular? And why is it important? Well, 3/4 of the world's major conflict have a cultural dimension. Bridging the gap between cultures is urgent and necessary for peace, growth, business opportunities, stability, and development. I believe that cultural diversity is a driving force of development, not only with respect to economic growth, but also as means of leading a more fulfilling intellectual, emotional, moral, and spiritual life. I am sure at one point in your life you have been to a cultural convention or event. Those provide a solid basis for the promotion of cultural diversity. And cultural diversity is thus an asset that is indispensable for conflict reduction, for prosperity, for the achievement of sustainable development. At the same time, acceptance and recognition of cultural diversity in media information and communication are conducive to dialogue among civilizations and cultures, respect, and mutual understanding. So before we start, I would like to point something out, as you will hear these two words quite often, and that is culture and ethnicity, as people often confuse these two. I mean, I hear so much about people when they talk about someone of Muslim religion or a Muslim religion. By the way, it's not Muslim. That is just wrong. It's Muslim. And the religion, the faith is Islam, not Islam. So when they talk about a person or that is adhering to that religion, regardless of where they are in the world, because you can be anywhere and you can be Muslim, they will confuse Muslim faith with culture and ethnicity. And that is absolutely incorrect. When you talk about someone in, let's say, Malaysia, and he or she is a Muslim, you will not have the same practice of Islam as if you were talking to someone in Nigeria, as an example. So these countries are different. These countries are absolutely like day and night. They don't have anything, they don't have much in common. And you are taking a faith and you are describing that person as a Muslim from Nigeria and a Muslim from Malaysia, and they are totally different. The ethnicity and the culture are quite different. So when you are describing a religion, whatever, or a way of life, Buddhist, Sikhism, any of that, you have to be mindful first of the culture of that person and the ethnicity of that person. And you cannot associate the religion to the culture and the ethnicity. I hope you have an idea. But let's talk about that, because there's a lot of confusion on these two, culture and ethnicity. Culture is the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. Culture cannot be identified based on the appearance. It is represented mostly in material items. Culture is socially acquired. Culture is very dynamic, and anybody can acquire others' cultural traits. On the other hand, ethnicity is the fact or state of belonging to a social group that has a common national or cultural tradition. Can you think of an example? I guess you may have a lot of examples to talk about. Ethnicity can be identified based on the physical appearance, belief, and practices. And it's so funny when I mention this, because based on my experience and working with so many nationalities, I am able to look at the face and look at the features and will tell you what ethnicity the person might be. And 99% of the time, I am right. You look at the nose. Sometimes some countries are known with certain shape of nose, eyes, forehead, and other features that will give you an idea of ethnicity. Ethnicity is biologically inherited. Ethnic mobility is possible if there is acceptance from both ethnic groups. Now, in my opinion, culture is a huge topic. And culture exists anywhere human exists, and no two cultures are exactly the same. Let's get that straight. So, on this episode, I will touch base on some specifics of what constitute a culture, such as symbols, languages, values, and norms, since they look different across cultures and many change with time as society evolves. I don't know about you. I don't know where you were born, but as an example, I was born and raised in Morocco. I left at age 21. When I go back to visit, I feel lost sometimes. That happened to you? I mean, I witnessed so many changes that I'm not familiar with, and that includes language, slang, and behavior. This goes for pretty much of the world nowadays. I mean, you can be from Russia and you've been living in Australia for 20 years or so, or even just 3 years, and you go back to Russia and you find things evolving all the time, and you have to refresh your knowledge, and you have to ask questions, hoping that you can integrate easily and without any problems. So the first element that exists in every culture is a variety of symbols. Symbol is anything that is used to stand for something else. People who share a culture often attach a specific meaning to an object, gesture, sound, or image. Let's say, as an example, in the United States, for example, a cross is a significant symbol to Christians here. It is not simply two pieces of wood attached to each other, nor is it just an old object of torture and execution. To Christians, it represents the basis of their entire religion, and they have a great reverence for the symbol. Another one can be the American flag. The American flag represents our entire country. You're driving, you see a red light. What does that mean? Well, a red light at a traffic light is used to relay the message that you need to stop your vehicle, and so on. So the second element in every culture is language. Language is a system of words and symbols used to communicate with other people. This includes full languages like the ones we speak: English, Spanish, French, Arabic, Russian, Chinese, but it also includes body language, slang, and common phrases that are unique to certain groups of people. For example, even though English is spoken fluently in both America and Britain, we have slang and phrases that mean different things in America and different things in Britain. One day, I remember this very well. I had a customer telling me that she needed to go and spend a penny. And I am translating this phrase literally. Okay, she has to go where? To spend a penny? What does that mean? And I was not sure if I should ask her. So I saw the woman twice. Then I asked her, I said, "Excuse me, you had mentioned you needed to go and spend a penny, and I don't know, I'm not familiar with that. What does that mean?" Well, guess what? It meant that she was going to the restroom. That's an expression used in England. How could I wouldn't have imagined that at all. Go and spend a penny. Okay. French fries. French fries, to the American French fries that we know of are the British chips. The American cookies are British biscuits, and so on. Another example on how language beyond vocabulary is the fact that eye contact represent many different things in different cultures. In America, eye contact suggests that you're paying attention and are interested in what a person has to say. While in other countries, eye contact may be considered rude and a challenge of authority. I remember one day I was at a meeting, and the person I was meeting was an attorney. He was born, or his heritage, from Egypt. He was very devout Muslim. And I'm sitting across the table trying to understand some documents, and I'm looking at him straight in the eyes, and he had his head down most of the time. I didn't feel comfortable. I said to myself, what kind of professional is this that I am talking to him straight in the eye and he's not even looking at me? But for a culture that is vertical, which we are going to talk about and discuss the differences between the cultures of the world, looking at a person straight in the eyes is rude and disrespectful. So be aware when you look at the person in the eyes, and if you see them not corresponding to you, and you see them with their head down, that is not disrespect, that is respect, and sometimes nobility. Okay, remember that. Another element of culture is system of values, which are culturally defined standards of what is good and desirable. Members of the culture use the shared system of values to decide what is good or bad. Let's pick an example. In America, we are individualistic. We encourage competition and emphasize on personal achievement. That we are so known for. This is not the case in collectivistic society. Collectivistic society celebrates the collaboration system. Collaboration is more valued and encouraged, and a person's success is only as good as their contribution to the group. The last element of a culture is a collection of norms. Norms are simply expectations of behavior. There are guidelines we use to determine how we should behave in any given situation, what would be considered inappropriate behavior. I mean, for example, let's say we know we should stand in line to use a public restroom without thinking about our behavior, right? If someone cuts in front of us, what happens? We're certainly irritated, if not angry, that the other person has not followed the norms of our culture. So some norms are turned into rules and formal laws, while others are simply written rules of etiquette for everyday's behavior. So in summary, for today, some of the common elements that make up individual cultures are symbols, languages, values, and norms. The more we know about these, the more successful, respected, and valued member of society. Until next time, stay well, stay happy, and stay productive. And be well versed and diverse in your thoughts and actions. Bye-bye.